Hello, welcome to the 11th day of February 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is the Good Life Meditation, something that I do each and every day to remind myself of my life objectives and principles, and to see how I'm doing applying these in recent times and to plan for tomorrow. So first, an assessment of last night. I was really delighted. I slept really well last night. I did wake up maybe 20 minutes before the alarm. Funny, I actually woke up, looked outside, and I didn't see Venus, and because it was hiding behind a tree, which is interesting. How did I never notice that before? That there was a tree there, hiding Venus, a tree hiding Venus. So I had a very good day at work yesterday. That's probably why I slept really well. Oh, and I'm off today. That helps. But I did have a very good day yesterday. I was able to complete the list of Wave 1 sites, which is very important to go into the pre-kickoff meeting on Monday. I've got that together, and I completed the budget, but I wasn't able to reconcile the budget. So the numbers didn't add up against the contract. And I don't think I missed anything. So that either means that the budget doesn't add up. I don't think that's the case. Or I'm simply doing something wrong. That's probably the case. So I'm going to avoid the temptation to look into it today. So that's the other thing. And I feel better now. Half an hour ago I didn't feel so good because today is my Friday off. I get every other Friday off. And normally I do an adventure on this day. And just like 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks before that, 4 weeks before that, 2 weeks before that, I did actually go on an adventure, which was fun. It really was. Yet, I feel very compelled today to not go anywhere. I had planned to, but I just really want to stay here and read my book. And I finally just decided, well, the hell with it, I'll just do that. I've got a few little minor things that I need to do around the house. And I'm just going to stay here and read my book. Maybe I'll take my book and go for a nice long hike in the desert mountains behind my house and do a nice walk and read. A walk and read. That sounds nice, doesn't it? A nice long one. Maybe take a snack and stop. Maybe I'll come out of the mountains and find some place for lunch along the way. A lunch, walk, and eat. That sounds like a very nice day. Anyway, main thing is I'm really enjoying my my book here, this epic poem by Lucretius. About halfway through. It's slow going because it's like every page is full of stuff, bits in yellow. Something you have to stop at and highlight and then think about. That's the best kind of reading, of course, when you've got something that's really good. And this is really good. So slept well. And yesterday I worked well. And today I hope to play well. Or, why not play? Study and play. And maybe clean the house a little bit. Okay, let's do this. The Good Life Meditation. First, my 7 objectives, which are to always be in a state of readiness for death, to have my affairs in order, my relationships solid as best I can, and then my book sitting on the shelf, ready to be discovered by my daughter, and say, when she starts throwing all my stuff away, saying, maybe I'll keep this. Maybe Dad's book. And to, not so fast, Kurt. And to make good use of my time. So I'm not just frittering it away. And spending the day reading is a very good use of time. And to work on my life principles, like a project that I tinker with every day, which I'm doing right now. And to cultivate good emotional reactions so that life, though it may unsettle me, rarely leaves me ruffled. I can maintain my composure in the face of flames. That's a goal. I won't claim that I'm there yet, but I'm getting my way. And as I go through the day to find opportunities for good deeds, for their own sake, and to measure life, to recognize what is within my reach, what's too far, and apply apathy to the stuff that's too far. If I can do something now to alleviate the problem in subsequent moments, then I will. But if it's impossible, then I'll be apathetic towards it. That's a tough one, boy. And then to do just one thing at a time, and always do that thing slowly and deliberately. And if process is helpful, methodically. Those are my 7 objectives. Now for my 30 principles. I'm always wanting to fight against anything that's important, especially anything that's important that I've come up with, but also important stuff that other people have come up with and they propose to me that I should believe. I'm going to fight those things. I don't want to nurture my plants. I don't want to have a garden of flowers. I want to have a garden of cactus that are able to sustain themselves through adversity, the adversity of inquiry, reason, honesty, objectivity, and doubtful skepticism applied to them. And when we're all done, they sit there with their thorny self and saying, I don't need any water. Those are the kinds of truths that I want to hold. When you grab at them, they prick you with their reality. You go, geez, Lou. There's a little guy inside my head. I call him the Homunculus. Maybe he looks like him. Anyway, he's my consciousness. And he's going to be with me as long as I'm conscious. And as long as I'm alive. And then he'll wink out with me. And we'll both go back to that same state that we were in before we were born, before we were conceived, actually, before our nervous system began to switch on and light up. He, even though he lives inside my head, he lives on a rock, symbolically, which is surrounded by a sea that isolates him, the deadly sea. Not full of sharks, but full of depth. Very dark. Don't go in that water. And you are off on your own rock. There's my wife. There's my daughter. Hey, my dogs. No one will ever cross the sea. But we can wave and shout and, hey, cheers. Up there in my head, I've got a place where I scribble in chalk the things that I think are true and are important and I need to remember. And sometimes when I spot a mistake, I'll wipe it free and try again. The chalk's right there. You can use it too if you want. No chiseled truths. and I strive to fulfill my obligation and my commitment, my chosen commitment to be a father, to help my daughter to enter successfully into adulthood and to begin her life in earnest. I also want to be someone who pursues virtue and who helps further the cause of a good life for others, where goodness is defined as the pursuit of well-being, particularly for thinking creatures. And I'll also try to further my own mission, which at this point is the sharing of my story, my tale of going alone, and particularly the good life principles and objectives that I formulated along the way, begged, borrowed, stole, and made up in some cases. I will remember what Lucretius says about the nature of the universe being atoms and void, and what that means to our constitution, our capabilities, and dare I say our fate, dare I not say our fate, dare I say our fate. If free will is an illusion, then dare I say our fate. In a universe where the nature of things, in a way, outlines the map, the roadmap of destiny. Dare I say destiny. I did. I dared to do. And reminded myself that free will ain't so free. We can make any choice we want, but we would never make any choice other than the one that we actually did. As strange as that sounds, I believe it. But damn it if I don't believe it on faith. Damn me. In my best moments, my actions resemble something that appears mature. These are the actions and the decisions which foster them, that are born of my experience and my strength in avoiding mistakes. And when I do these things, or when anybody does them, for that reason and in that order, we might call that maturity. Boy, we sure do need each other. I almost went alone in earnest. Almost. I think that would have been a grave mistake for me. I may not have come back. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have had a good life. But I may not have discovered the good life. Or discovered or formulated. Dare I say discovered. Dare I did. Always watching my speech. Very careful about what I say. Thinking about the audience that I'm addressing. Their interest and familiarity with the subjects under discussion. A lover of vocabulary. but a user of vocabulary well. And then everything in moderation, including what I'm saying, but particularly what I'm consuming. Making a simple life where suffering is endured and apathy readily applied where appropriate. I can feel a wash come over me as I envision the horror that's happening right now in this neighborhood, maybe next door, maybe in this house, all around, certainly everywhere in this city, everywhere in this state and country, and all across the world, but not across the universe. Everywhere where life appears to be, there is the horror. The horror of accidents, the horror of disease, the horror of ill will, the horror of neglect, of abject suffering that comes of the most ridiculous reasons. I will brace myself with the fact of that horror, that I stand ready to participate in the alleviation of the pain, or stand ready to apply apathy, yet sympathy, yet apathy indeed. Dare I do? When that is the right response, not at all cases. And to bear this pain, this fact, the pain of the fact of the pain, to bear it well. And to keep moving towards the mark. And when I've had too much, it's all too much, to keep it in myself, to not explode. I may be exploding inside, but I'm not going to explode outside. I'm not going to take my handfuls of suffering and grief and upset, confusion and doubt, throw it in your face. I'll swallow it back down instead. And I'll do better dealing with it on my own. And when others are upset and not exercising such restraint, I'll offer a there. I'll be apathetic where necessary, but I will not consume that feast. It's a good seat, a good chair. Body's all right. Maybe it's not. Seems to be. Maybe not. And what I'm doing is all right. Boy, that's the most succinct coverage of a principle I think I've ever performed. It's in there. It's here in the book. all the 7 objectives and 30 principles, even though I'm not naming them, I'm just kind of skimming across the surface right now. They're all in here in the chapter called The Good Life. You can see them all covered one by one. available on Amazon or at goingalone.org. To be able to push forward into new life by collecting facts, appointing a time for a decision, gathering more facts if necessary, and another time for a decision. But eventually, deciding to make a decision. And if still there's not enough facts, then I'll lead with my gut, cognizant that may be wrong. But grateful for the chance to move forward. I will attend to not only the things that are more immediate and sanctioned, the challenges of maintaining this home, feeding my family, and making sure that my wife and I are secure in our retirement, but also the challenge of capitalizing on the adventures of my youth and the self-actualization that was achieved by going alone and developing a story. And I will try to avoid believing things too readily or failing in my skepticism, and accepting things because it's tradition or authority indicates that it's to be believed, or because of threats. Hell and damnation shall not frighten me. That sounds more like I'm trying to convince myself, doesn't it? I guess that's true. If hell and damnation were real, let's choose the Christian paradigm. If that were real, that would indeed scare me. But if I'm in the moment right now, and I think I understand the tenets of the religion. I certainly understand the history. I read my Bible every day. I'll do that immediately when I'm done with this. I'll transition and go read a chapter. I'm in Proverbs 2 today. So I know the history. I know the story. I know the mission and the mandate. I know this. I know what salvation looks like in that worldview, although it's been fractioned into many sub ideas. So if the Lord Jesus Christ extended his hand and said, will you accept and come to heaven with me? Or will you reject and go to the other place? Based on what I know, based on my reading, my experience, my study, my discussion, the fact that I was once a believer and am no more, and for good reason, I believe, sound cause, I would choose hell. So, I don't think there's too much danger that I'll be swayed by dogma or authority or tradition, because my course is measured by experience and thoughtful consideration and ultimately reason. So faith has no use here for me, nor superstition, nor tradition, nor dogma, nor authority, nor hope. Thankfully, I am not a man of hope. I'm a man who will rather work, study, decide, and act. we're not going to see each other again. Not after this life is done. It looks like this is it. Remember? No, you don't. No, neither do I. But we sense the emptiness before we were born or conceived, or our mind winked on, when there were sufficient cells, neural cells to do that. I think that's what it's going to be like again. And with that in mind, and yeah, gulp. Well, it's only a gulp if we haven't lived well. If we recognize we have our fourscore years, and make good use, get good mileage out of those fourscore, especially the first 20, then we should be all right if our work is done. And my work is definitely done. Don't want to die, but I'm definitely, everything that I wanted to do in life is complete. I would like to maybe be around a little bit longer to make sure my daughter makes it into adulthood on her own, but she's almost there. My book is done. My relationship is solid with my wife. So and eventually, you can't play that flute forever. It's got to. The tune has to come to an end at some time. And as long as it's a lovely tune, it's all right. It's better if it comes an hour later. It's fine. But given that we won't see each other again, I better reach out to you now. The people in my life, and work to resolve our difficulties, and try to make things square. And I'll always be grateful for the adventures that I had in my youth, and that I continue to have to a lesser degree. Now is the time more for thought. And even the writing is done. Although I would like to write a little more. I think the hard work is finished. I just saw Michael on the Discord sent me a message. I just saw it fly by. Hey, Michael. Oh, we have a Discord. I rarely talk about it. It's a great place. There's just a few of us over there. We talk about the most fascinating things. Michael's one of them. You can find it if you go to my website, goingalone.org, and when you land there on the landing page, a little window will pop up and said, Discord thing, and you can see me standing there walking through the sunny desert. And if you click on the thing, it'll take you to the Discord, and then you just have to read the introduction, the rules, so to speak. They're easy rules. Even a kindergartner can follow them. And then you click on the button on the end, and then you're open access to all the different little discussion groups there. Mostly we hang out in the bench, and we talk a lot about religion and some very serious topics sometimes. And sometimes there's fun, just lighthearted stuff. The bullseye aim. Trying to hit the mark, but usually missing. I was pausing there because I was reflecting this morning. What was it? I did the bullseye aim, and I was thinking, two principles kind of came together while I was thinking. Two principles came together, and I recognized it, but now I can't. That's why I write everything down. I keep this little board, and I just write stuff down all the time because my memory's shot. And so I just, as we're doing this, I'm writing it down, and I did write that down. Now it's gone. Oh well, move on. Step up the hill. Today, if I'm lucky, I'll climb the hills behind my house. Just like in life, we climb the hills, and to admire the view, to have the experience, to wear ourselves out, to use our bodies while we have them. to recognize every moment as an opportunity to live well through deliberate consideration of what I'm doing, and to have my principles at the ready to apply. To be all right with very little, nothing even, and to try to have fun, which I'll do today. I'll try to have a fun day today, because it's my day off, and I worked really hard all week. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.